We're live for our first live stream. We're so excited to be here, and we have some wonderful things for you today. And to begin with, there's a lot of things going on in here in the Dallas, Texas area and Texas in general as far as poker is concerned. And we want to bring to you some of the history and the latest news and the future of what's going to be going on in poker around here, as well as some adventures here with poker education, as in not only in your what would you call it, your skill sets, but also your mental wellness within poker, and how it also aligns in with life itself. And we're very excited to have you join us here today. I have along with me, I'm Matthew Wadata Lamello. We have here Tommy Sensei Ho Ton.
Tommy Ho, and you could just put maybe a poker monk at the end. I'm an aspiring monk. I'm not there yet.
Love it. And
Great introduction, Matt. I like it. I don't have an alias for you guys. It's Yanni. I like to call me Yanni. Poker name Stupu AA, but I prefer Yanni. If I go there somewhere in the future, that'll be my alias. Very exciting, man. Thank you for inviting me to this project. I'm very excited for what's coming in the future for this little podcast. Hopefully we go big in this. So what are we talking right now about? We're talking about the rooms.
Well, yeah, something right now is going on in Dallas and Texas, and everyone here in the area has realized and is trying to find their way in this market is the opening up of the legal social poker rooms here, and it's really leading to a bunch of different opportunities, and we've had here just a slew of different operations opening up. Some successfully and some not so successfully, and there's many more to come. And that's something I wanted to actually open up here and talk about a little bit. We've it's been a year now, just about, since the first room opened here in North Texas and the Dallas area, and that first operation, Texas Card House. I mean, it would open up with a bang, right?
I'm one of the original members. If you look on your ID cards, I have a 3-digit number, so it's pretty low. So I've been around this scene for a while, and Texas Card House, when it first started, it took about a month. Then it started picking up, and that's where it's steamrolling. And now they are literally just packed every day. You might have a Monday afternoon where they're not packed, but for the remainder of the time, they're pretty much packed and full.
It was a blessing for poker now in Dallas, because I remember I used to drive 2 hours to Windsor. Well, like an hour and a half, and then grind over there, and then came back. And then since I came to the States, after I think I came here in January 1st, they just told me about TCH, and it was this big thing. The action is great. I mean, there's money to be made, and it's great for Dallas. We have now Shuffle, Poker House, Champions maybe will open in the future.
Yeah, and then you have another room. I think it's going to be called the Sports Book, and I'm here in a room, and there's as many as 8 more additional rooms on top of that.
That's a lot
here.
Yeah, people are catching up on these things, and they will start opening more and more and more rooms.
Do you think that there's room for it? Do you think there's room for? I mean, we have 3 going right now. We have 2 additional ones in the works, and with what we've seen so far with Shuffle and maybe Poker House and the way they've gone about things, do you really think there's room for additional marketplace here? And how would they go about really being successful?
Well, based on my observation so far, if you look at the Austin market and the Houston market as well, that there's really only one main room where everybody goes to. And then you have a few small rooms where maybe because they hit different target markets or niches, like more local people that they know in that area. But other than that, there's only one large room in Austin, the Lodge, I think. Then you have the Houston, which is 88 Cam. And then you have Dallas, which is CCH. And then San Antonio, which is the Rounders. And so around all those, you have small rooms where they have anywhere from 1 to 3 games running sometimes, but it's not always 24 hours. Whereas some of the other ones are pretty much 24 hours now.
So you have one room that's running 24 hours, maybe two.
I
And
think
the rest are these smaller
boutique, you could say.
boutiques.
And I think that's what every city right now supports. I don't know how the market will play out within the next year because we don't know what kind of actual recreational player level there are out there that are not ready to come out to here the games yet because they have still maybe a negative perspective of how poker's played.
The Austin market interests me when you bring up the lodge because TCH was the first poker social room there, and how the lodge break in and kind of knock them off their horse. Have you been to lodge down?
No, I wish I would. I was there. A lot of people talk about it, but I mean,
I've heard some good tournaments come out from the lodge, and they have a good live stream. I've seen a couple times.
Yeah,
And that sounds like a trip we might have to make down and do a vlog from there or something. But have you been to the lodge down?
I haven't, but I've been to Rounders and I play there and I enjoy it. And so if the lodge tells you anything, is that first to market does have an advantage, but execution probably eventually plays better, plays itself out more than in first to market. So I think if you find a way to execute and do it well, then I think the last room standing will be the one that executed well, not the one that first came to the market or had the most money. Because you could have a lot of money, but you could still be missing all the small points that you need to have. Because like everybody right now is coming in with pretty much trying to be like a bang, we're going to do this and this and this, but they're really not focusing on the small and the details and what the players actually want and don't like. And I think that's more important than, having all these amenities.
That's something I'd be interested in hearing from the folks out there that might be listening today is what they might want. What are they looking for in a room? Directly, I'd love to hear about that because in some of these smaller boutiques, I mean, they have the opportunity to maybe offer some services that the larger ones just can't provide.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you guys think are some of the things that you'd look for? I mean, you play a little bit more than I do. What would you guys look for as far as in a room? What would you expect?
bonuses, man. I mean, when you open a room, they're taking the hourly, right? Or they're charging you for some of the services. The fact that they give you like back to just one customer randomly, either it's like a raffle or the high hands or whatever, that's what brings the customer in. I think big bonuses has to be like a priority to be a successful business. And I mean, Poker House is doing it very well. TCH is doing it really well also, but TCH has to spread the bonuses into so many people. And then Shuffle tried to do that. Shuffle tried to do the bonuses thing, but I think location is a problem.
I think in a lot of ways, Shuffle has a number of things that they did right, and I think some of the finer points kind of turned some people off as far as finish out on the location and maybe trying to do too much.
I think.
Time.
Sorry to interrupt you. I think talking about Shuffle, we should try this one right here. Oh, maybe, yeah. I don't know if that's the correct one.
Can't see it now. I can't see him.
Let's try it.
Gotcha, bitch.
No, that's not the one. That's not
That wasn't the one.
But still pretty good.
So pretty good.
So my opinion on the Shuffle is that
Wasn't the one.
like every business, you could say has a different model, and so Shuffle probably took the lean startup model, right? The lean startup model is basically saying we cut out all the high end stuff and all the planning and all the this and that, and we just go straight and we just launch the bare minimum, and then from there we iterate and from there we get feedback, we adjust, we pivot, whatever we need, but we should use information and data to make better decisions, and then from there you keep iterating, pivot or adjust, make decisions.
Absolutely, there is some truth to that for sure, And they're doing the best they're doing the best they can with what they have, and I really do. I used to work there actually.
We used to work there.
We.
Yeah.
And man, love the folks there, and I think they'll eventually get it. But they are working with a rough location as far as what they got there. But man, they throw the best tournaments. I think their tournaments have the best value right now. And it surprises me that they're not getting the number of tables out there. They're getting the one, maybe 2 tables a day. And I think I wish them. They have the $100,000 guarantee going on this weekend. They made a number of changes to that location that I think are worth really going to check out and giving that spot another opportunity to earn business and earn the rounders and the regular players, because really great people over there. They do throw some great tournaments, and I think when you go out there this next time around to check out the $100,000 guarantee tournament this weekend. They got rounds C and D running this weekend for the $100,000 guarantee. You go check that out and see what they have going on there. Give them a second shot. It's a great $40,000 chip starting stack.
Yeah. Well, so then I'll give you from a perspective from a cash player. Like even when you told me the other day, there was maybe 2 table and overlay, the perceived value is still not there, because it's just the payout, if lucky, right, they'll get to 100K and not have an overlay, but the value is in the overlay. So that means that your winnings, your earnings is capped, and at tournament there's just still high variance where the skill level, the requirement to do well is very low, you could say.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. I knew that's the way you were thinking. That's not where I was coming from at all.
Yeah.
My thought process is I knew from the last time they threw that tournament, the first day the turnout was low, and then Friday and Saturday they hit it out of the park with participants. Mm-hmm. They end up they made their guarantee last time around with ease, and I think that they will do that again this time around. And the reason why I was bringing that up to you is I thought it'd be easier for you. I thought that'd be the easiest field for you to participate in, to make it, because I know how shaky your tournament play is.
Yeah, I actually finally broke my what is it, 13 in a row non-cashing streak at Shuffle.
At Shuffle.
At Shuffle.
See, there you go. So that's what I'm talking about.
So it's ironic.
Yeah, but that was really my point there. That I thought that the thinner field in the beginning, but it could also work the other way. The more folks there are, the more opportunity it is to make it to day 2, and which makes Friday and Saturday a better day to play. So I'm kind of sad, Yanni, that you're not participating this year.
Oh, let me tell you the story. So look, I have a little bankroll for tournaments, right? And I go like every day to play this tournament at Shuffle, and I just crushing it, man. The first time that I tried was the first place, second one, second place. Then I did a 4th place and another 4th place. Mm-hmm. One of the 4th place was a bubble. They just get 3 pay, right? But I was in the top 3. Just 3 players gets a guarantee to the tournament. But I stopped going because I was very busy. I was doing some other stuff. I had to work, and I just didn't want it to participate in the big tournament, and I just make it easy for the folks right there. Just didn't want to qualify.
Make it easy for them. Well, speaking of Yanni's success, I mean, with what we've been seeing from you, you've gotten some good news today. I think, Tom, you want to do the honors?
Yes. So met Yanni the other day at King's Spa. That was our first business meeting together, and Yanni told me his aspirations, and I said I think I can help. And so right now we'll let Yanni start off. So this part will be Yanni's adventure.
All right, this is another fun story. So we met in this business planning, and I met Tommy. Nice to meet you, Tommy. Mm-hmm. We just met like a week ago, right? Yeah. And then he told me that Invariance.Poker, which what we're doing right now, he will give me a little bankroll money to run it up and to show how poker is skill, and then trying to make a little bankroll while doing the podcast, so you folks can get a little motivated by by playing good poker.
Yeah,
Thanks.
because the other day Yanni told me like, "Am I confident in this? Like, how do we know this is gonna work?" And I told him the least thing we have to worry about is his poker knowledge and poker skill. The more important thing is effort and discipline because one begets the other. If you have effort, you have discipline. If you have discipline, you have effort, and so it's a feedback loop where one gives energy to the other, and you constantly feeding each other. And then from there, you should get better because poker is a very systematic, very methodical. You could take little steps by little steps to improve yourself, and every one of those steps will make you better. And each one of those is an one iteration, one hand at a time, and then you just grow from there.
You know, Tommy, I see poker like this. Like you're in a table, the one that works the harder, the ones that study, the one that it's analyzing every action, the one that is not like, you know, like distracting himself, like going out to the bathroom breaks and things like that. Those people, those folks are the one that are making the money. I mean,
Yes.
you got to be very aware of what choices you're making with type of cards, and that's how you that's how you effort translate into results. Right?
Yeah. So it's like an art of war, right? You imagine there's 9 generals sitting on 9 mountaintops. Every one of them is observing what the other general is going to do and what their move is and what their play is. It's not, one's going to be aggressive, one's going to be passive, one is going to be deceptive. And so you have different ones, and whoever could be the most observant, the most patient, will always have the better edge because they can always make the better decision. And at the end of the day is who makes the better decision based on others' decisions.
Let me tell you another thing. Like I consider myself like a profitable player, right? But I just adopt like your new strategy that you told me to, and I'm making even more money than before. Like it's even easier.
So what's the strategy? What did I tell you? Tell the audience.
No free information for the people
I
outside.
think we
That's right.
I think we give them for free because here's the thing that with poker is that the knowledge is out there already. Everybody knows what to do, but the awareness and the ability to perceive and see the right time to execute those moves is people won't be able to get it. So it's kind of like the startup when people always scared. Oh man, I don't want to tell people about my idea. Somebody's going to steal it. We tell them the idea is not 5%. Luck is 5%. Not 90% is execution. And most people will not be execute even if we lay out our entire strategy right here to the 1-2 player because it takes a lot of mental skills in order and kind of building up your endurance in order to execute these skills. So we could talk some of it.
By the way, I was joking about that. We're in an educational podcast, and I want to tell you the strategy. So first of all, I'm kind of more aware about who am I taking the money from. Trying to avoid like bad spots, try to avoid the pro players, the guy that looks that he has a very good range, that the guys that are not gambling, right? And I try to play more pots with people that they're just like ready to ship it. I'm doing like a not too tight aggressive style. Now I'm doing like a limping strategy, as you told me, Tommy. It's working pretty fine. It makes me like sometimes I'm in like in a very difficult spot to think about it. But if you're smart, you can just navigate them very well, and it's even more profitable, more fun. And I'm making like my win rate, it's increased by like 25-30% more an hour.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that just fundamental plays that people just don't execute well, and if they do polish up the games, you don't have to get creative. You don't have to know everything. You just gotta do well what you do know. But bring up we were on the way here
or something.
Bring what?
on the way here we were talking about a hand history,
The hand history.
So go ahead and set it up.
Okay. Do you want to know about the jacks?
Nah, the jacks don't have any really context
Too
to
easy.
it. But we could talk about it too.
I have one.
I want to hear about the jacks
You want to hear about the jacks?
later.
Later. Okay, I'll tell you later. So I have one ace three off on the button. Okay, so this lady that she just came to the table. Okay, she looks like very aggressive. She's bluffing every spot. He looks like this is a recreational player. She just plays like here once a month, I think. I don't know. I never saw her before. She opens to $7, man. Like it's all full to her. She's on the hijack, opens to $7, and I have ace three off. So I tried to play with her a little bit, just flat $7 on the button, and then the blinds come away, small and big blind. The big blind he's a whale. He's putting aggression to the max, and then the flop comes ace. Let me remember. Ace, five, jack.
Okay, let's stop right there because we want to analyze pre-flop play and pre-flop decisions, right?
Okay.
So there's two variables that you said already. That the first variable that you should base the decision on is the big blind, right? You said he's a whale,
Mhm.
but he's aggressive. Well, so then what you got to ask yourself is that means he's most likely gonna repop you, right? So given that you have ace three on the button, do you want to end up having to face a three bet and have to call? Because that's the one thing that you need to factor into your mind. Because you know the lady is weak, and you know if he's aggressive, there's a good chance that he's gonna squeeze you guys, and that's gonna make you go into fit or fold mode. So then, if you think that he's gonna three bet you, then you want to eliminate that from his power. So that now, I would have probably taken her $7 and three bet to 20. That's nothing big, you're small, you still manage the pot so that he will most likely only call, and then she will most likely only call because she's weak, and now you have the initiative versus if you had called 7 because you look weak, so your range is pretty weak, and if he re-raise you, there's nothing you can do is maybe call and then fold with that range of hands.
Yeah. I understand. Also the guy, I mean, he's a whale, but he's not applying a lot of pressure pre-flop. He's like over betting the pots on the flop.
So then is he an aggressive or a passive whale, you could say? If he's aggressive, then you have to take the aggression away from him.
I mean, he's very aggressive, but he doesn't show any type of three bets pre-flop.
Okay, then if he doesn't show a three bet, then you want to encourage. Then that's the next answer. Then if he doesn't show the tendency to three bet, then you don't want a three bet because you don't want to push him out of the pot.
Yeah, you wanna keep
him in.
the king three.
Yeah,
the king seven. Those type of hands. And then flop is ace jack five.
Then the next question, the first one I would look at it is you have ace three of clubs?
No, it was off.
Ace three off.
Ace three off, yeah.
Okay.
So it's rainbow, and I have I forgot the suits. I have ace of spades and three of, it's a red card, diamonds, I think. But the flop is rainbow, so nothing, no flushes right there. So I see at the faces. I take my time, and I see the blinds very weak. They both check, and then the lady, she bets 50. The pot is 21. No, the pot is 28, and she bets 15. And I was thinking about folding right there, because she can have like better aces, and I don't see her like see betting the flop into four way. But I don't know why I went for the call right there with Topper.
I think you have to call. You have position. There's you have a made hand that could bluff catch. She could have middle pair. She could have bottom pair. She could have any kind of gut shot. Any pair plus backdoor straight draw. Most likely, our ranger is if you have the ace, so you call one bet, right? If you don't put her on the ace, and if you don't put her on the ace, then she most likely has a pair with some kind of backdoor straight draw to go with it, not just a naked pair. So probably like middle pair with a that could connect, like say another one of those. What was the flop again? Ace
Jack 5. So
Jack
she can have Jack King, Jack Queen, Jack 10.
Because she raised pre-flop. So then we put her in there more of the middle ranges.
Also like I tanked for a while. I mean the table was like, come on dude, like hurry up. But I mean she can have a better ace, so I was trying to get some read. I didn't get anything. So I called the 15. And then big blind the whale calls. No, I'm sorry. Big blind the whale raised it to 35. And then the lady flats the 35. So what's your move right there?
At that point, I probably fold.
Yeah, that's what I did. I folded. and then turn is in, it's I'm not gonna lie, I forgot about it. I forget about the turn. But the guy bets 100, and then this lady comes all in, and the guy folds, and the lady shows pocket fives. She didn't have anything. She was bluffing.
Just a bad play that didn't make sense. But,
Yeah.
that's the part of a slow stakes game, and that's part of tournaments also, is that you're gonna get bluffed by these stuff that doesn't make sense. That really, most of the time, these bluffs are not gonna get away with it, and they're gonna get crushed.
And also, I want to put the money in when I'm kind of like an 80% sure that
Yeah.
I'm good, right?
Like, and that's one of the concept that I told Yanni. It will go with the jacks hand, is that you want to put your money in when you're racing or crushing. You don't want to put your money in when you're racing or crushed.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
if you put your money in that spot there, you're either racing or you're crushed. You don't want to be in that spot.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. That's sound advice. Very good advice.
The ace three. I mean, with my strategy, not Tommy's strategy, ace three, I'll just fold to any aggression.
Yeah.
But I think limping and trying to play with like weak players is very profitable.
Yeah.
Very profitable, even with like marginal hands.
And so when I gave when we first started Yanni, I gave him the top 10 list. Kind of like I broke down what came to my mind first. But the first thing that always came to my mind was isolate who's your number one victim, because you want to position on that victim, and you want to play as many pots as possible. You want to widen your range in every spot, but you always have to have position. So then once you have that, it dictates your range, your first range.
Dude, you're like Dexter.
What
You know
mean
what I'm
about
talking
that?
about, Dexter?
Which Dexter?
There was like this show, I think it was on HBO or maybe it was Showtime, and it was about this this character, and he was a forensic analyst for the police force in his town, and I think it's actually, I called it town, but it was like Miami, Florida, and actually he was a serial killer. He was a serial killer.
I think I know about this guy.
He couldn't get
I never
caught,
seen the
couldn't get
series.
caught because
but-
he was on the inside.
Pick your victim. Everything's methodical. Dissect and carve them up. That's what we said. We told them, you're like dancing. You know, you're fencing and you're carving. There's no, don't get the idea that you have to go around, whacking everybody off with an axe. No, you're sitting there dicing, carving, and you come in for the cue shot when they least aware of it. But the one thing you want to avoid,
Shear the sheep until you're ready to eat.
the one thing you want to avoid is accidentally letting somebody whack you off with one swing of an axe. And that was what the Jack's hand was.
Oh yeah, I play that kind of bad.
No, we got to hear the Jack's hand. We have to hear it now.
So let me
Talk
tell you.
about the
Okay,
Jack's hand. And
Yeah.
let me tell you. There is I have pocket jacks, and I was card dead, man. Card dead. I was nothing. But then I said in my mind, I said finally, bro. And I opened to, there was a straddle, right? And I opened to 30. And then this guy calls 30. I open on under the gun +1. And then this guy, it's on the cutoff, calls 30. And then the bottom bumps it up to $165. I have 300 behind. I have 305. I was just looking at the guys like, let me have some read here. Like, do you have ace king, or do you have like queens or kings or aces, something, right? And I don't know. I just decided to ship it. I just put it in, all of it, 300. And he actually, I'm surprised because he has a better hand than me, and he tanks for a while. Like, he didn't want to put the other $140. And I said something that, I mean, he's not going anywhere. But
He's
I
not
said,
folding.
he's not folding pocket queens. He has pocket queens. But I said to the guy, just fold, and you can take half of your bet. Give me just $80 and you can fold.
He's
I
king.
I got you. He was like snap call. Like ace king. I mean,
Yeah.
I
that's
shouldn't talk.
Yeah. So that was so there's two concepts there actually. So there's two things that basically the same concept. And that same concept that we just talked about, racing or crushing, or racing versus crush. So Yanni is pretty much in the spot where he's either racing or crushed, right? What is he hoping to see? Ace king ace queen maybe. So those are the ranges that he's hoping to see. I can't. He'll be lucky to see tens, nines, eights. So those it's pretty much over cards, ace kings. That's what he's hoping for. He's not hoping for queens, kings, and aces. So that other guy, the reason he stalled because he put himself in the same position with queens. He's guessing, does Yanni have ace king or aces and kings? So then we go to those. So that's the concept of three betting. And I tell Yanni at low stakes, you need to have a really good reason to three bet. Don't play your ranges like GTO ranges that a lot of the higher stakes play, because there's a different type of game style. There's different reasons. And down here, people aren't raising enough where you need a GTO range. You need to have a more exploitative range. That means that almost all your three betting hands that you would at the high stakes three bet with, you would take that out of your three betting range and you would put it into your flatting range, because at low stakes, the money is in the multi-way pots, and bad players giving bad players an opportunity to make a mistake and give their entire stack. Whereas, so you need to just flat, then let them make the mistake post flop. Whereas higher stakes, people are making less mistakes. So you have to play more of a range war and position battle and equity. That's the name of the game at high stakes. And that's why you see a lot more three betting at a higher stakes, because it makes sense. It's just, if I know your range is weak, I'm going to put pressure on your range using my range. But I'm not sitting here, at high stakes at 10, 20, I need to see a flop so that this guy could flop bottom set and spew his whole stack, or some kind of 5 high flush draw and loses everything. No, that's not going to happen at higher stakes. At low stakes, it's going to happen all the time. Someone have 5 high flush and they lose, 200-300 big blinds. It's not going to happen. So it's different. And that's why you need to, it's called like implied odds and reverse implied odds. And I think a lot of like the mid stakes 2-5 players, they misapplied the three bet concept, because they think they have to three bet their range when they leave out the like huge implied odds that there's sitting there with 1,000 big blinds that's ready to spew off on any kind of flop. You gotta let them see a flop. And the grinders, a lot of time they don't see that, and they three bet the fish out of the pot and get heads up with the pro. That's not very profitable poker.
What do you think about hands like ace queen? Do you think they're better to just flat instead of three betting?
And that's if you take that approach, then you're taking the wrong approach, because you're looking at ranges and numbers. What you gotta look at is who's in the blinds, who's already limped, who's gonna call your flat bet behind you, and who has a possibility of three betting you. Those are the variables that you gotta factor versus if I have ace queen suited, or should I three bet or not. Well, the answer is based on those 4 variables.
Yeah.
So if you have someone that's behind you and that's gonna raise, or ahead of you it's gonna raise, then you're gonna flat call because you're looking for the raise.
If you have somebody behind you that has a tendency to three bet, then you don't want to get three bet squeezed and put yourself in a spot where you declare your range. Because if he's three bet squeezed and you don't four bet, pretty much there's only a certain amount of hands that you would make that play with. Suited connectors, pocket pairs, ace queen, ace jack. So you declared your range to be those ranges already. So if somebody raise, you call, three bet, they call, whatever you call. Pretty much those ranges are there. So it's a range war now of who gets and who's gonna play bluff catch and who's gonna be willing to bluff all the way. And that's the type of game you see a lot on the streams.
So again, then in the case of that, if someone's behind you, so if you're seeing them and they have the opportunity, they might raise on you, or they have the ability to make that three bet,
then I would probably three bet first.
You're gonna three bet first.
Correct. Okay. Whereas if they have a tendency to call, I would probably call, because I want to disguise my range. I want to be able to have, like 9-7 offsuit in my range, because those are the range I would flat or raise late position, but I would not three bet. So once I three bet, you could pretty much eliminate those kind of hands, offsuit gappers and offsuit connectors off of my range. So that's why when you three bet, you pretty much declare a lot of your ranges. almost half your range.
Hey Tommy, also I have another hand for you. I decided to flat Jack 10 off on the button. It's no, there's someone raises to $15. All right, but I decided to call because there's 4 players that call like after this race. The race comes from under the gun, very strong. It looks very very strong. I knew I was behind when I called, and then middle positions, 2 callers, cutoff calls, I flat, big blind calls. So we're 6 players to the flop. That's 90 on the pot. And then the flop comes 8-9, which is an open ended with a 3. It goes check, and the original aggressor under the gun makes a 75. Do I have the odds to call it?
What was it again? It was
8-9.
8-9.
So I have an open ended.
So then you have no backdoor flush draws. You pretty much pay. What's the stack size? Is the first question you got to ask.
Okay, so the guy has around like $300.
Then no. So like you would assume the implied odds is there, right? So what would a 9-8 outs is 40% equity? It's always 40-20, right? So what do you call it, 7? It's almost there where you could say it's not wrong, but your variance is going to shoot up in those spots. And so for me, I like it becomes stylistic play, right? Your preference. And for me, because I have so much edge everywhere else, that I'm not going to put my money in where I have low edges. And that you're pretty much putting your money in gambling, right? Because nobody's folding. You have to hit your outs to make money. If you don't hit your outs, you're done.
Yeah, and also I was thinking if I put this guy all in, he's gonna call with like better hands, you know, ace 9, aces, kings, tens. So I decided to fold. I mean, I didn't even call the 75.
So what I would say is, if you can't find your edge anywhere else, then this is the spot that you're looking for, because you're pretty much trying to push, maybe put a semi bluff your way in, but it's not a bad gamble, right? You're drawn to the nuts and you could semi bluff. So your equity might be in the 60 something long term, but if you could always find spots where you're like 70-30, why would you put your money in at 60-40?
Yeah,
that's the way I would look at it. If you can't find, if you always you're not that good, and the best you could do is get them in a ace kings versus queen spot, and that's like your fist pumping, because you always lose. Every time you get your money in, you're always behind, and this is fist pump for you. Then that is a fist pump for you too.
You know, I tank in the hand a little bit to make like a little calculation in my mind if I should call or not. And I decided, when I folded, I told the dealer, run it up, please, just in the turn, no sweat, 7. I was like, oh my god, I got it, man.
Yeah,
I shouldn't fall.
That's why. That's result oriented, right? Yeah. That's being and so now we get to the third part of our podcast, the mental game side of everything. And so we'll start with that. Then that is an example of being result oriented, and you don't really want to see this because it has no value, right? Seeing the turn in the river, whether you hit it or not, like what value does it have in terms of your decision making skills or your game? And rarely it's nothing, because poker is a game of making good decisions. It's not, but there's no results involved, because you could do everything right and lose money, and you could do everything wrong and make money. So your results are not dependent on your decisions, and that's where people don't see that, and that's the perception, right? Poker is a game of perception, and those who can perceive or observe and see better, which is, you could say, this is our sixth sense. Perception is our sixth sense, because we could, what is it, our 5 senses or what?
Sight, sound.
Eat, taste, touch, see, hear, and smell. Perception is our sixth sense. And all those 5 senses feed into our main sense, a sense of vision, seeing. So how we see things from there triggers certain emotions, whether The emotions of happiness, anger, jealousy, all those emotions are triggered by our perceptions, our seeing. So if we could train our perception, then we will eventually be able to see things clear. And if we see things clear, then we could see the triggers that causes the thing. But then if we could see these triggers better, well, we could see the emotions that arise. And once we see the emotions that arise, well, we could better handle these emotions. So that's mental wellness in a nutcase.
You try to like embrace these emotions when they're like rising in yourself, or you try to just stay like neutral.
You, your goal is to be neutral, or I forgot, indifferent, because that's what the non-attachment is, to be indifferent. You're not too high, you're not too low, and you want to be like that in poker because your emotions should be based on your decision, right? If you made a bad decision, then you should be upset with yourself. But if you make a good decision, you lost, you shouldn't be upset with yourself, and you shouldn't be. You, of course, those specific emotions are going to rise once you lose. But if you can perceive better that it wasn't you that caused these emotions, it was just the results. So it's natural, right? We lose, negative emotions gonna rise. And at least once we see that, just the fact that we see it, we're in better control.
That's interesting.
The control is everything, right? In the poker table, trying to see everything, trying to be like calm, because there's plenty of people tilting. Like you can see that in an hour, you can see like you can spot 2 or 3 people tilting, and that's where you want to play with those people. Like they just you don't hit the flop too many times. You got to be patient, right, in this game. And people tilting, they just lose patience somehow. It's correlated into like trying to get the money back quick.
People lose themselves in the game, right? Yeah. So and that's where our central theme of all this blog, this podcast is how to train ourselves with mental wellness. And if we could see that poker is actually a methodical, step-by-step way to improve yourself, well, it's also a methodical tool that you could use step-by-step to improve your life through poker. So invariance is, I told you the definition. Do you remember it, Matt?
As in poker, so in life.
Well, that's our motto. That's our motto.
Yeah, I do remember.
What does invariance mean?
Invariance is like something that is stagnant, like doesn't move, right? Like in nature, like it's not variant.
So invariance basically refers to one of the natural laws of the universe, which is as above, so below, and it's basically saying that to understand the bigger, you just have to look at the smaller.
Oh yeah, I remember that also. Forgot to say that.
Yeah. So that's why through as in poker, so in life, we understand life through looking at it through poker. And basically poker is so what poker is going to do is going to shine a light and show you all of the open secrets that have been hidden in plain sight. Does that make sense?
There's Sensei Tommy coming out. Buddha monk Tommy
Poker
out
monk,
there.
right?
Poker monk. Yeah. So give an example.
So let's see here. One of the things I tell Yanni is that he could practice mindfulness at the table. Right? So I tell him every dealer hand is one iteration. And through every iteration, he could practice being mindful, watch his breath. And what we're going to see is that what you can start noticing, you start doing this, is that we're all in a state of waking sleep, walking robots. We don't really do anything. We just react. If you watch yourself, when you lose, you get tilted, you win, we're all reaction. We don't actually have any control of ourselves. So the first way we can tell that we don't have any control of ourselves is to watch our breathing. How often can we sustain this watching before we lose it and we fall back into our state of waking sleep, which is to think. So there's two state of mind that we're always in. One is the state of thinking, thoughts, and the mind is in motion. The minute the mind rests is a state of observation. And that's the state of mind that we want to achieve as long as we can. We can always enter it, but we fall out of it quickly as fast as we enter it. And you know that by watching your breathing. And how long can you watch your breathing before you forget that you're breathing? And most people is 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Rarely anybody can go a minute before the first thing they think is, I gotta remember that I'm breathing. When you are thinking that, you're gone already. And most people are thinking that already right now.
So you're in the state of observation when you are paying attention to your breath.
Yes, and that's a state. And if you notice that when you're in that state of mind, it's a shift in consciousness right away. You notice that you're more peaceful, relaxed, and you're more zen, because that's the natural state of mind. And when you're in that state of mind, you start, as you become, you could say, more mentally fit because you're cohorted longer. You start noticing, picking up small things at the poker table that people do over and over, and you start picking, like, it's so obvious in hindsight, but until you see it, it's not obvious. And that takes you into kind of like the stages of learning. Is that the reason most poker players are bad is because they don't know that they don't know. So they would never fix the problem because they don't see that they have a problem. The only way you can see that problem, the only way that you can overcome that stage is by two things. You either admit that everybody's stuck in that stage and you get yourself a coach, or you get lucky and you run into some catastrophic event and it wakes the hell out of you. You suffer and you wake up.
So, I mean, when you're, the practicality of this is, when you're sitting there, you're actually just kind of counting your breath, or taking notice that does. Were you able to implement that at the table?
Yeah, every time I'm trying to keep myself calm, I'm trying to like be very, very in the present moment. I mean, before I knew Tommy, like I always try to play like that. I always try to see, and it helps with attention and memory. I mean, helps to put all together into okay, this guy's doing this because of this, or this is a new player. I try to get like all the information I can, but also the most important thing is just to be there, like to be very awake and to be very observant.
Skills of, basically you're increasing your skills of intelligence, observation, perception, deduction, awareness, emotional control. All those are skills of intelligence that will lead to mental wellness if you exercise those skills and you practice those skills. And that's why poker is one of the greatest tools that you could use to exercise these skills. Like, I cannot give you a better example than to poker as a way to mentally train yourself, because there's no other scenario where you can actually simulate suffering as in poker. There's no, like you, yeah, we talk about it. Like you could a millionaire, billionaire, he could have everything in his life, and you could see him crying like a girl at the poker table when he loses aces
By losing 200.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, but his perception is off, right? His perception of wins and losses and chips, like he didn't lose anything in reality, and what he lost is so insignificant. Why does he lose himself and his coolness and everything? It's because he's lack of self-control and lack of all those stuff that he needs to practice. And rich people, that's why what the quote in the Bible says, it's easier for a camel to squeeze through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get to heaven, because the rich man does not see his problems. If he don't see his problems, he can't fix it. And that's most bad poker players, that they don't see the problems. If they see a problem, they would be ashamed of it and they would fix it.
Also, I think we expect poker to be very like justice with us. Like we just, because we put it with aces, we expect to win 100% of the time. When it's not. Reality is like 80% of the time he's gonna win, right? So as long as you understand that you're putting your money for an 80% equity and you lose, I think that erases the tilting.
Then let's ask a question, Matt. If everybody knows 80%, then why do people still tilt?
It's the effect of loss. I mean, perception.
Perception. Most of us we're deluding ourselves into. So anytime you're disappointed, it's because your expectation exceeds the reality. If you didn't know 80-20 and you just first played poker and you always lost with your aces and somebody told you that's how you do it, well, you're not gonna get tilted because your expectation has been set low. So that's why most people they are in poker and in life is because most of your disappointment and anger and negative emotions arise from your expectations. It always comes from your expectations and your perceived what you perceive to happen didn't meet your expectations, and that's why that's the cause of negative emotions to arise. So then we got the root of the problem is it's not anything that happened to us or anything that somebody did it to us. Is the way we perceive what happened is what really caused us suffering.
You know, Tommy, I have a little problem with tilting sometimes. It's always when the players don't like play the game as I study the game. Like when the players like they do like weird lines or they dunk bet into me when they should be checking to the aggressor, that just puts me to tilt. Like let me be the aggressor, right? And then let's say I open in the cutoff and then this guy calls me with 3-5 off, and then he flops a trips and I have pocket aces. Of course I'm gonna tilt because I made the trip to TCH,
Yeah.
and I'm risking like a good money, and then I lost the money and it was rent money or something. That'll put me to tilt sometimes, but I try not to.
Yeah. So the beauty of poker is that there's so many different ways for each of us to be tilted. Like one person could tilt because of different reasons, and that's what's more important is that if we could use those opportunities to identify our specifics, like we could say don't tilt and control your emotions at the table and everything, but that's almost like me telling a person that has never ate a mango what a mango tastes like. I could sit here and spew all day and it has no value to you. The only way that anything that makes sense to you and that gives you insight is through experience, which gives context to the knowledge. Without that context and that experience, you will never have understanding. So the minute you eat a mango, I don't need to give you a whole book and you'll be like, that's a mango. That's a mango. That's not a mango. But until then, I could give you a whole library and you will know, you can't even tell me what a mango is. So experience is very important. And poker, those experiences of where it causes you to awaken is an opportunity for you to put into context what we talk about in terms of mental wellness. And okay, you tilt in certain spots, you gotta use that to at least dive into why you tilt in those spots and nobody else does. And it goes always back to your perception.
Since I was in Mexico, when I was in Mexico, I have a lot of tilting problems. And what I did is just like, as soon as I get a bad beat, and I still do like right now, I take a 2 minutes break, very short break. I take this break, came back. If I do like a bad decision because of my tilting problems, that's one strike. So then, I'm sorry. So then that's one strike. So I go again for another 2-3 minutes break. I came again, and if I do another bad decision, that's second strike. Just 2 strikes. That's cash out.
Yeah,
I gotta go.
This is something that at this point, this is something we're gonna have to speak about in the future in one of our vlogs here is about, or our podcast is about the different ways to deal with tilt in the moment on top of the breathing and things of that nature. And that gives us a good chance here, a good place to wrap this up and set things up for the next time you'll see us in about a week or so. We'll have an update. You're just itching to do.
What do we have? My daughter.
Is that how we're wrapping?
My daughter
up?
could be listening to us
Could
here.
be.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
we have to.
David Chappelle.
Family friendly.
Yeah, family friendly.
Please.
He's young. He's excited.
We gotta come up with new sounds there. Like
we gotta
prepare.
We'll have new sound.
As well as we'll have a fixed intro and a fixed exit in the future as well. So, but it's been wonderful speaking with everyone out there today. We look forward to seeing you again. And with that, I guess we'll be signing off.
Yeah. Play every hand, one hand at a time.
Peace.
Peace.